Hello. It's been a while since I've had a chance to talk, and you'll notice no fancy intros or anything along those lines. It's just time for me to talk. There's been a lot going on in the world the last couple of weeks since the new administration has taken control of our government. To say that it's been a good thing is an extremely laughable statement, period. Full stop. There's been a lot going on, especially against the transgender community. It's been hard to find a voice to say anything right now because it has been so impactful on my emotional and mental well-being right now. I think I've finally gotten to a point where I've got enough resolve built up where I can say something, where I can start to fight, because this isn't going to stand. As a United States veteran, I sacrificed a lot of my life, 8 years of my life, to be able to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. Not the government, not the president, no one else, nothing else. The Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And yet here I am, after that service, after that sacrifice, here I am living in a world where my government feels that I am a domestic enemy and is willing to do whatever it can to make sure that this enemy is eliminated. I went into the Marine Corps because, yes, I wanted to serve my country. Yes, it was a tremendous honor for me to be able to do so. But the alternative of the worst case scenario in the military happening, which could be dismemberment, wounds, death, mental trauma, PTSD, traumatic brain injury, all of that was a better option for me than dealing with who I was and who I am, especially in that place and time back in the early 90s. And I've always been myself. Since I was little, I've always been myself, even though I had to fight who I was. I had to put on that front, that male front, that the way the current administration puts it, because I produce sperm, I'm a male, so I had to put on that front. Regardless of the trauma and the unbearable pain that it was causing inside myself. And then I finally get to a point in my life where I can be truly who I am and experience happiness like I've never experienced, like I am now. Only to have the dumbest crap happen because for some reason I'm a criminal. I'm whatever the terminology they want to use. I'm a disgrace. I'm a mistake. I'm a pervert. Whatever their stupid rationalization is for hating me, that's what I am. So how is this impacting me now? And how is this impacting other transgender individuals now? Well, first off, I've gotten all my legal documents updated except for my passport. I guess I was too stupid and naive to think that they can't take that away from me. I have done nothing to warrant not having a valid passport. I have done nothing to warrant not being able to freely travel outside the borders of the United States and to be able to travel back in. But again, I was too naive and stupid, because that's exactly what has happened. I cannot renew my passport. I cannot update the last document I have to say female. And I can't update it beyond that to include my name and everything else. It's in limbo, suspended. No idea when that's going to change. Especially since there are members of this administration that want to codify that will never change. So there's a potential that I or others that are in my position will never be able to get a United States passport that's valid because of whatever perceived slight this administration and the people that are backing this administration feel, this threat that they feel I pose to them. So, this beautiful trip I was planning with my daughter and her boyfriend and my best friend and her son, that's not going to happen. At least until 2029, possibly never, because I cannot leave the United States and I cannot come back in if I do. So that's one way this stupidity is impacting me. It's impacting me even to the point where they are actively trying to erase transgender individuals altogether. If you go on the State Department page and you look up international travel, you will notice that it no longer says LGBTQIA plus travelers. It just says LGB travelers. So we're already in the process of being erased in that capacity. Then you go on to an email that was sent to the CDC or to the employees of the CDC that said, hey, you got to go through and scrub all these papers and everything that are being put out and eliminate terms such as transgender. Because, hey, why stop at erasing us in one place? Let's keep erasing us elsewhere. We're being erased from the military. So instead of being able to openly serve in the military, people that are transgender are going to have to do what myself and so many other transgender individuals did. Hid who we were in the military. Risk our military careers if we're ever found out. To do what we want to do for our country, but our country will not do for us. And then you hear about all this panic about transgender women. And I say women specifically because if you notice a lot of this legislation, it's not just transgender individuals. It is heavily focused on transgender women because of the fact that they perceive us as a very real threat. The reason being is because they would do exactly what they accuse us of if they had the opportunity, which is preying on children, preying on women. If you go onto the web and you look up or try to look up information statistically about the percentage or frequency of transgender women assaulting children or women compared to cisgender men, it's funny how the government websites are not available right now. How convenient it is to be able to push a narrative when you wipe out any contradicting information to what that narrative is. Just like the sports ban. You don't hear them saying they want to ban trans men from competing in men's sports. No. They don't mention about trans men being in a locker room. It's all about trans women. It's very sexist. Because if you look at what their definition of sex is, it doesn't matter what my gender is. It's based on what my sex is. So there's a lot going on. There is a lot going on, and surprisingly, there's a tremendous amount of silence about it. I have not seen a lot of outcry for what's being done to members of the transgender community, as I've seen in other situations, such as immigration, such as I'm not getting my government payment. Things that other people are dealing with are getting a lot of attention. And I'm not trying to trivialize by any means those issues, because those issues are tremendous. I'm not getting my disability payment from the military because it's caught up in that whole system as well. I know people that are fearing for their families because of ICE and the immigration roundup right now. I know being transgender makes me a very, very small part of the population. It makes me and others like me, it makes our community an afterthought. The government is starting to push the narrative that us in the transgender community have said for a long time, that the T is silent because nobody wants to talk about the T. And now that's officially the way it's going. I'm hoping that there are things that I can do. I'm starting a letter writing campaign to my congressmen and peoples in the legislature here in Oregon. I'm having an opportunity on the 17th of this month to go down to the state legislature and talk to representatives that represent my area. And I'm hoping that that could be the first step in being able to have a real voice and make a real difference. Because I will tell you what, I did not get to the point where I am in my life right now to have uneducated, bigoted individuals try to erase me and invalidate me, because it's not going to happen.